The worst types of teachers in school. First, we got the old teachers. Bros have been teaching since the beginning of the Ice Age, and instead of being home, just chilling, living out the rest of their years in peace, these people decide that they're going to spend their time in the worst place imaginable, school. And when they're here, these people got no idea what's going on. While you guys are stuck here, I'm swimming in love. Oh, alright, what's your secret? Well, ever since I was Google's billionth user, I got hooked up with this website where it says there are 10 hot singles that want to meet up in my area. You know those are a scam, right? Scam? No, I've been talking to these hot ladies for weeks now. Nah, man, scammers are online trying to trick people to get money out of them. At least you didn't send them anything. You didn't send them anything, right? Next, we got the musty teacher. The dude that smells like he just came from the boys' locker room. The guy that every single time you see him are sweating more than when the Redditor's search history gets leaked. And every single time when we're in the middle of class, when somebody has a question, they have the need to throw it back, doing the stance of death right in front of my face, violating all of my senses at once. Like, dog, you're not Senora Baker. I don't want to see that. And don't get me started on the bad breath. You could be struggling hard with this math problem and you don't ask for help, all to avoid the smell of anchovies. But the teacher comes around anyway and has to give it to you raw and unfiltered. You're stuck on this problem? Please, you can have anything you want. Just stop talking. Okay then. Next, we got the strict teacher. The people who wake up every single morning asking themselves the question, how can I make my students' lives more miserable today? Like when he goes to their class, you know exactly where you're going. Right, prison. And they will find a way to create the most nonsensical, ruthless, and most fun-killing rules that you'll ever witness. Like they'll make a rule banning you from drinking water. Like how am I supposed to survive? Using photosynthesis? And don't get me started on their projects, where stuff like this happen. Your English essay on Macbeth will be due next week on what does the color blue relate to the story, and I'm thinking around 2,000 pages. Oh, you don't like that, Tony? 2,500 words. Come on, Mr. Hart, it's not what you think. I'm just sick. Sick of what? Sick of my class? 3,000 words. Somebody make him stop! Like, I don't know who made you like this, but I'm sorry. Next, we got the Fiend, the teacher that can't go 5 minutes without stuffing their face. Meanwhile, everyone else around them are starving. And I swear, bro, when you take a look at their desk, it looks like they brought the whole buffet, looking like they're trying to survive the winter. But they better not get you trying to eat something in class, because then it's a problem. You could just be sitting in the back of the classroom while you and the homies are just trying to eat some snacks. And they come right up to you and say, why are you eating in my class? Because we haven't eaten anything all day. You just came from lunch. Why didn't you eat that? Bro, do you see the school lunch? Who would want to eat that? Stop overreacting. School lunch isn't that bad. If it's not that bad, then why haven't you been eating it during class? Next, we got the talker. The teacher, when you say the right things to them, will trigger an unskippable cutscene for them, speaking about their lives, giving out information that nobody cares about. And some kids are just so smart that they could pick up whenever a teacher's a talker and just exploit it during the most clutch moments. And before I collect your research papers on the history of the Empire State Building, does anyone have any questions? Yeah, Mr. Franklin, have you ever been to the Empire State Building? Well, actually, yeah. I've gone there 2 times. Once during elementary school, another was sightseeing with my fiance, and I was supposed to go a couple months ago, but the police investigation began and I couldn't go with my family. And it's questions like this that have saved my life so many times. Like during this time in my algebra class, where I had completely forgotten to do my homework packet over the break, but the kids managed to waste so much time that our teacher forgot to collect it. Next, we got the cringe teachers. The teachers that try way too hard to relate to kids that they end up causing severe mental damage around them with the amount of first-hand embarrassment they create. The cringiest thing from a teacher that still stays with me till this day is during our community time class. Our algebra teacher made us do gestures to introduce ourselves to the other kids in the class, and when it got to her, she dabbed. This was years after the dab was relevant, by the way. And what made the situation worse is when you took a look at her face, she was expecting us to enjoy it and hype her up, but instead she put all of us on life support after witnessing such an atrocity. You know how teachers always say never give in to peer pressure, but then they do that very thing the next time you see them? If only they took their advice personally. Next, we got the CEOs of beef. The teachers that always have to get into beef with a bunch of teenagers for no reason every day, even though they have the power to do something about it, but for some reason why, they just love to have the beef. And the worst thing of all when it comes to teachers that love beef is that instead of punishing the kids that are actively causing the problems, they punish everyone and then go on to give the speech we've all heard 1,000 times of, "In my 25 years of teaching, this has to be the worst class I've ever taught." Like, dog, what did we even do to you? It was Jeremiah being a menace, yet we all now have detention over his actions. And it's very weird when they think we'll do something about it. First of all, the menaces do not care about anything or what anyone has to say in the first place. But I have a core memory of one of these beef sessions happening, and the menaces were actually flipping back on the teacher saying, "You're gonna punish Scotty and the rest of them doing something they didn't do?" While our teacher just didn't respond. Like, this is why we called school a prison, because nobody wins in there. Next, we got the substitute, and there are really some bad substitute teachers who, unlike the chill ones that'll just put on a movie and everyone could just relax for that class period, these teachers are more serious than our actual main ones. One of them we had during Spanish class quite literally would not get off of us, from telling us not to wear our hoodies, even though our Spanish teacher didn't care if we wore them or not, getting on us and why we were late, and would come to every single one of us to check to see if we were doing the work that our Spanish teacher had laid out, and if we weren't, she would write us up. We couldn't tell her a fake name or somebody else's name, because this was the assistant principal. She knew who all of us were. I had to pretend like I was doing my work, meanwhile I was doing my Algebra 2 homework that I forgot to do the night before. At that point, just give me back my regular teacher. The anxiety isn't worth it. Then we got the test fiend, the type of teachers that every single week will give out a pop quiz, an entrance exam, or straight up a test. These have to be the worst teachers I've ever experienced, like my calculus teacher that deserves his own focus for the torture he put us through, who made that on every Tuesday that we saw him, we would have a 30-minute quiz at the beginning of class. And these weren't regular quizzes, but quizzes that came from the deepest pits of hell. As when you take a look at what was on the quiz, it looked like ancient hieroglyphic handwriting that absolutely none of us understood. And when we asked him, why does he run his class this way, he responded by saying, "It's to make sure you learn." But none of us were learning, and it only took us 2 months to reach extreme levels of burnout. I didn't even want to hear the word calculus ever again after I managed to retake and pass the class the next time. Next, we got the teachers who pick favorites. The teachers who will give special treatment to kids they make friends with and let them get away with anything they want. Like, if they miss an assignment or two, they'll give them a pass. But when I do it, it's my only warning to not do it again. There was this girl we'll call Alexandria, who throughout the year was not the best kid in English class, but because she was the most popular girl in our school, they were good friends, and she ended up giving her the Mastery of English award at the end of the year, passing up all the other kids in the grade who did far better, but lost because they weren't friends. Next, we got the creepy teachers. These are the types of teachers that will try to rizz up kids that could be their children, and we've all seen the way how these teachers treat us. Like in gym class, if you're a guy, you'll only experience hell, as he better not catch you slacking off during warm-ups, the game, and especially you better not talk back to him, or nobody's playing any games because of you. But suddenly when the girls are in the same class, it's like their Windows 95 hormones start acting up, and suddenly they're the nicest person in school. To them, talking so casual, you'd think it's one of the boys shooting their shot at their crush, while they could straight up get away with things that the guys couldn't do. And everyone's looking at them like, where's Chris Hansen when you need him? But at least you don't have to stay with them for a week in detention after participating in destructive activities. That would suck. Who do you think are the worst types of teachers in school? Any did I miss? And what do you like to see next? Consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time in the sanctuary.